Yeah. Let me do it. You wanna talk about it? We gon' talk about it. You wanna talk about it? That Hollywood of the South. We gon' talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. We gon' talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. We gon' talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. Hollywood. WCEG, Hollywood of the South. We gon' talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. We gon' talk about it. That Hollywood of the South.
You're listening to WCEGTalkRadio.com, the worldwide community empowerment group, where we speak life into the community. I'm Wardelll Richardson, your show host on WCEGWOOD, the Hollywood of the South, for the next 2 hours. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and on Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio. That's WCEG_talk_radio. Call in or Skype us at 678-619-1402. That's 678-619-1402. Ask your questions, make your comments, or voice your concerns. Let us hear from you at 678-619-1402. We're your 501c3 nonprofit community radio station. Please make your tax-deductible donations via our website or call our business office at 404-490-8646 to keep Quality Talk Radio on the air. Thank you in advance for supporting WCEGTalkRadio.com. The topics and opinions are the show hosts and guests and not those of WCEGTalkRadio.com. Once again, I'm Wardelll Richardson, actor, producer, director here in Atlanta. Thank you for tuning in. I am here today. First of all, I have an incredible cast of people here today, and I'm very honored that they're in the building because they're doing some amazing things. But before I get to them, I want to bring in my co-host, Natasha Mays. What's going on?
Hey, what's good, everybody?
How you been?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be back.
I know, man. We got, you know what I'm saying? You do your thing, you know, with the radio, you know what I mean? So I had to bring you back on in here.
I appreciate that.
What's been going on with you lately?
Man, nothing. Still out here, still writing. Thank you for the contacts. There are a lot of contacts on here, so if you have not tuned into the radio station, please go onto the YouTube channel and go look at past broadcasts. There's a lot of information that was helpful to me even before I came on the show. So I've been doing that. Oh, excuse us. Doing some writing, doing some shows, working on some stuff with the label. We got a little bit of feedback, but that's okay. That's the crowd yelling and screaming and saying, "Yay, go Tasha!" That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, and I appreciate you coming back because, like I said, you did an awesome job last time you was here. I was just like, okay, we need to bring her back on here and do her thing. You know what I mean? Pop your collar. Let people know a little bit where you come from. Before we get started, like where you come from, how you got to Atlanta if you're not from here.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts. We know that this is, Falcon land, but I am Patriots. No evil stares, no angry phone callers. Causing trouble already. Just starting the show. Just come on the show, starting
Look
stuff.
Here. How long you been in Georgia?
Well, see, that's
how long you been in Georgia?
Since '96.
Okay, yeah, you're a Falcon fan.
Well,
moving on.
That's okay. See, I equally love the Falcons and root for the Falcons and the Patriots.
Oh, look at
I got a little heart. Yeah, I don't want no hate mail coming in. I just got back here. So I went to Clark here. Shout out to CAU. They got all my money for all those people that are HBCU. So undergrad and grad at Clark, bachelor's in psychology and MBA marketing. And then I'm out here just doing everything. So you can talk about it, writing, acting, co-hosting. Hey.
Oh, wait, wait a minute. So you got a psychology degree.
Yep.
But you went into acting, so how did that all fit in?
Now, we all know that you need to be special to be in. You all know you need to be special. She just said you got to
be a little crazy. That's her way of saying you got to be a little crazy.
I didn't say that. You said it. So when the hate mail comes, you know who said that. So all those actors and actresses out there. No, you have to be a little touched, a little special, as they say in the South.
All right,
say, bless their hearts. Bless their hearts, yes. So, and I think now, as everybody knows, that, you can't have one lane. So there's no every minute, every second is accounted for.
Right.
So focusing on that, focusing on the independent label that I'm the chief marketing officer for, Music Group. So the music industry down here is booming, and it's a lot more about independent artists.
Right.
And doing that, and busy with my 8-year-old.
All right then, and a mother on top of all that.
And a mother.
Just doing it all.
Just doing the thing.
Before we get to our fabulous guest today, why I say ghost? Our guest today, I want to announce some events that's coming up. First of all, if you missed the 5th Annual Youth Empowerment and Excellence Awards, you missed out on a treat.
Yeah,
It was
incredibly.
It was one of the best events I've been to in a while. Marcella, shout out to you and ITEE. They did their thing. We were on the red carpet. I hosted the event. It was just awesome. Those kids are incredible, very talented, intellectual, young adults. We had 2 of them in here on the last show, and they spoke so well. I was just surprised. They spoke. We had one that was being honored at the award show, and one that was performing at the award show. It was his first performance, and it was excellent. They did great. Sire, he's on the rap game with Jermaine Dupri. He's one of the last. I think they got 3 left now, and he's one of the top 3. Wow. So hopefully he wins it. He's doing this thing. I'm very proud of him. So if y'all missed that, y'all missed out on a treat. I'm telling you right now.
They can go back to YouTube.
Yep, you can go to YouTube.
Okay. See, I'm trying to you got to go back to YouTube.
You can go and pull me up in YouTube under Wardelll Richardson, or pull up WCEG Networks, and you can see the whole, majority of the event. All the interviews, we did majority of the interviews for the event. So you're in for a treat when you see that. Secondly, March 23rd is my birthday. So I'm inviting everybody to come out and hang out with me. Guess what? This is my very first birthday party ever.
You better stop playing.
I am
He
not
just saying
joking.
that because he wants you to all to come. We gonna come
joking.
anyways.
I am not joking. My mom told me, she said,
you.
the last time you had a birthday party, you was 1.
What?
I kid you not.
Everybody come out and support his birthday, please.
It will be at the Firefly in Alpharetta, Georgia at 7 p.m. 3070 Windward Plaza. It's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very happy about it. On April the 7th is the 3rd Annual Atlanta Actors Awards. Okay. Mr. K. Chill was in here some weeks ago. He is the CEO of Chill Zone Entertainment, doing his thing. To get tickets, you can call 678-235-1611. I will be honored in getting an award there as well. So that's going to be a great event on June 13th through the 17th. WCEGWOOD. We are going to Jamaica. We'll be going live in the grill, Jamaica. We got to come up in the world.
He said we got to come up.
We got to come up in the world. So we are going to the grill. We're going to be, I tell people this every time. If you want to go relax, enjoy yourself, walk along the beach, sleep. This is not the trip for you.
This is not it. We talked about that the last time.
We're talking about beach parties, boat parties,
fallout,
night parties, day parties, all kind of parties. We are partying like you would never believe at the grill. So
when is it again?
It is June 13th through the 17th. Get your tickets. It's on. If you you can go to WCEG, the online radio of the South, on Facebook. We got posts on it there. We got it on. Do we have it on WCEGTalkRadio.com?
Yes.
Yep, we got it on the website. So make sure you go and check that out. We are going to be partying out of control. If you want to rest, the day you get back,
you can do that.
Do that after the day you get back, because you're gonna need a rest day for real. And that ends our announcements for the day. So, are you ready to announce our guest?
Yeah, I want you to go ahead and do it. You just got such that Barry White voice. I'll be sitting there looking like, look at Barry White. Let me amp him up.
Let's go ahead.
I think see how you put a couple octaves down. Let me go ahead and introduce.
Let's go ahead. Let's see. Let me go ahead and introduce our guest of the show today.
Go ahead, then.
Did that? Ooh, what? That's what I'm talking about right there. We got Shay McCray in the building. What's going on?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
How you doing? We got Alexander Pezo.
You got it right.
Boom!
Look at that. He was afraid.
Let me tell you something. I was working on that.
I was a little nervous.
I was working on that.
Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only if they're comfortable with you as Alex.
Absolutely.
Okay, so go ahead and announce him properly. Alexander
Pezo.
Yeah, man.
Put some respect on that name.
She said it earlier today, and I said, yeah, I was right. Because you had mentioned the name earlier today.
I had my lecture before, so I'm going to get it right from here on out. Trust and believe
that. He tried to set me up to go ahead and announce. I wasn't even going to do it. See how how you trying to give me up with the setup so I can say what?
Exactly.
I got you. You trying to give me the okie doke? No, son. We got you.
So we gonna start with Shay. How you doing?
I am doing great. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. For,
Man, I have been
inviting
checking
me.
you. I've been checking you out on social media.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, you're the queen of photo shoots. I mean,
Because you know I stay on
she
there.
got you beat.
I love you already. I
This
love you
woman,
already.
she got to do a photo shoot everywhere she go. Like,
I
she's
love
gonna
it.
probably go out in the lobby and do a photo shoot when she leave. I promise you.
We gonna pause and
she
do
have
one
a photo
together
shoot.
then.
We're going to do it together. That's what we're going to do.
You gotta love yourself first.
That's right.
Yeah, and that definitely you
Self-love
do.
is the best love.
Absolutely, absolutely. But your pictures are perfect because I was going there, I was just like, man, she got so many.
That's me. That's me.
And then I
Yeah,
delete
you do
them.
post a lot of pictures. Why?
Let's just recycle.
Energy.
It's a way of social media. People I met last week didn't see the photos I posted.
You
2
know
weeks ago.
this.
Wow.
Really appreciate it. I see that
Recycle the
kindred-
photos.
I can-
That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
see that kindred
Yeah.
spirit.
Very good, very good. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from? How you got here if you're not from Atlanta?
Well, of course, you know, none of us are from Atlanta.
I am born and raised. Born
One.
and raised.
And
Not
I
a Grady
agree.
baby. Not a Grady baby either, but I'm born and raised.
He was born in Kennesaw, probably somewhere up there.
Oh, no. Marietta.
Close enough.
Somewhere up that way.
I'm actually originally from Brooklyn, New York. I was,
Okay.
where I was
Okay.
born, but I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, 10 years ago from Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I've lived in many places from South Carolina to Florida. My grandmother just moved so many places. So I guess that's why I travel a lot because I like to move, you know, and explore the world a little bit. Moved here. I was married.
Okay.
I still have 2 kids though.
Oh, Mary. I still got the 2 kids.
See how she segued into the good part. Let's talk about the good part.
She slid right over that. I still got the 2
I
kids.
still got the 2 kids. Been divorced now 5 years.
Okay.
I always say I'm not in another chapter. I'm in a new book.
There
so
it is. I like
from
that.
there, I was an accountant. That was my major. Kind of raised my family in the corporate world, of course, because that's where the security is.
Right.
And 3 years ago, I got laid off, and I was like, "This is it."
We talked about that, yes.
Yes, this is what I'm about to just follow my dreams, my goals, and see where I can take it. You know, especially after turning a company into the #1 store in the Southeast region. You like, oh, I could do this for myself. You
Right,
know,
right.
so started out in sales. Been working for myself for the last 3 years so far.
Okay.
Started out acting 5 years ago though.
Okay.
And I started out with Trade. Trade is a web series. It's got over a couple million hits on YouTube right now. I played the lead role. Her name was Lee Taylor.
Okay.
And of course, that's what kind of opened up doors for me. Started out hosting in a nightclub. Wasn't for me. Like, this is not for me. There's no money in this. Who wants to get paid $50 to come out to a nightclub?
That's how Atlanta breaks you in. We're not even going to go down that path. That's how Atlanta breaks you in.
They
You
do.
the
already
okie
know.
doke.
It's
They
the
do.
okie
I'm
doke.
going to get you a bottle in a section.
Yes,
And
like-
you're going to invite you. It's the hustle. But we
And
gonna,
everybody
we
getting free.
And everybody
like-
getting free.
But really,
It's the hustle.
Until you realize, you're like, oh, this is not for me. So started out there. Then I decided this wasn't for me. Actually, believe it or not, I started out as solo Shay.
Okay.
Shay McCray came after. It was like, you can't brand solo Shay as an actress or a motivational speaker, a model. It just didn't work. You know, it was the club thing, solo Shay.
I'm always solo. It's a transition.
And then I started with Shay McCray. That's how I started my promo run, with just doing a lot of hosting, main stage events. Red carpet was really what opened up a lot of doors for me.
I saw that.
Partner with a TV production, TST Network. Started working with them. They had me host the UMR ATL
Right.
show.
Right.
So shout outs to TST Network.
Talk to you.
I started
Busy
out there.
woman. Busy woman.
I remember my very first interview. I interviewed the celebrity moms of Atlanta.
Okay.
And I never forget this. And shout out to Tony. I always tell this story every time because I almost walked. There was about 5 of the moms there, and first interview, and he was miking me up, and I'm saying, I'm about to leave. He has no idea. I am about to walk out this
I'm
door.
done.
I'm done. I am not about to
Why?
interview these people. I was just so nervous.
Oh.
Without him even knowing what was going on, what was in my head. And he said, listen, I got you. You walk in that room like you own it, and I need you to just just run it.
Step on faith.
Step on faith. And I'm saying to myself, this man don't even know me. He don't know I'm about to walk out. Like, this is crazy. Like, okay, all right, cool. I'm about to walk in here and I own this. Walked in, and that's what started my career on TV.
You gotta be
Wow.
pushed sometimes.
Yeah.
So I tell that story all the time because if it wasn't that one push, and sometimes people motivate us not knowing that they're motivating us to the next level, and it's like, I wasn't at that level where they placed me at first, but once he pushed me to get there, it was like, okay, here I am. This is Shay.
Okay.
And from there, I had a show. Then it was the Shay McCray show. Then I got into radio. Then it started from there.
All right. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of things. And before we get to Alexander, I wanted to say I met you somewhere. And I said I was going to say this.
Where did you meet me?
I'm going to tell you where I met you at. You were shooting a movie
Okay.
with Carla Saunders.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you remember, y'all had to go to a house way out in Cumming.
Uh-huh.
That was my house.
Oh, okay.
And I was
Full
sitting there looking at watching you in the garage shoot the scene.
Yes, yes.
And
I remember.
And I said hey to you. You said hey, and that was it.
And that was it?
That was
We
it.
did it.
Okay.
Because I was trying to stay off the set.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to interrupt anything. But I was just like, I met her before. She don't even remember she met me.
Okay, well, that was a good setting. So I'm glad I met you there.
Right. And that was a great performance.
Thank
you. Did
you.
great.
Thank you. Yes.
I was the associate producer on that project.
Okay,
So
that's coming out soon.
I was
It's not
hitting in the
over for that.
background.
No reason. Carla Sanders. That's coming out soon.
Yep. And she would be in studio next week.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, Alexander Pezo.
Hey,
How you doing, man?
fine yourself.
We want to
I'm
pause
good.
for a second and tell you that shirt is popping.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
This is why he has a book called
This is why that shirt is popping.
Polish Your Appearance.
Polish your appearance.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Alexander Pizzo exclusive.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Exclusive. You see how you like,
Say
like that. You say exclusive. You
That's
know.
when you really could pop your collar.
Right.
Let you know, because it is. It's real sharp.
Appreciate that.
Right.
Well, Shay been around me enough. She know how I do it. So
That's right.
Yeah, I seen plenty of pictures now. You got some pictures out there too.
I appreciate that.
Very
man.
organized page.
I appreciate
Mine's all
that.
over the place.
What's that?
So mine's all over the place.
Is that right?
Just scattered brain. So how'd you get started?
Well, the way I started out doing graphic tees back in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
where I'm from. Then when I went off to college, I was playing college ball, and I
Basketball?
I played basketball.
That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah,
up. I'm
and-
a basketball player myself.
Good
You
thing,
think?
brother.
Me
Yeah,
too. Can I get that?
yeah, absolutely.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me, I was.
Yeah.
I was point. I was point.
Okay.
Wait, you play basketball?
Yes.
You play
I play point guard.
I was
Yes.
point guard. We sure.
Anybody
Of
from Worcester,
course.
Massachusetts over there, please stand up and call in and let them know I am official. Go ahead, basketball. Okay,
Wait,
so
okay,
transition.
basketball
you-
players at the table.
Yeah, so played a little ball, and my mom told me you got to always have a transition plan.
Okay.
Right.
So my transition plan was I was going to be the first brother from Cincinnati, Ohio, to get into design. So I started out selling, graphic tees, and I would go get some wholesale things and sell them to the bros on the yard and
Right.
things of that nature. And then I had you remember those old sheds we used to get to store the lawnmowers in and everything? It was
Yeah,
like
a
this-
little shed to be in the back. Yeah.
Well, I got the tallest one because I'm 6'3". I got the tallest one I could
Yeah, I'm
find.
6'4", some change. I got you.
Okay. And I put that at a place called Fun Carts. This was go-kart place.
Gotcha.
And all of my customers, so when they were waiting to get on the go-karts, I would go over and get them
Look at that.
and sell them my product. So I started out like that,
Gotcha.
and then I transitioned.
That was smart.
Yeah, I transitioned from that to, you got to change with the times.
Yeah.
Right.
I went from doing graphic tees to doing custom. So now we do anything from a graphic tee to a pocket square, custom bow ties, custom shirts, custom suits.
So did you go to school for that, or just that passion? Because everybody feels like, and I don't think you did, but everybody feels like, hey, I got to go to school, I got to get a
Right,
degree,
right.
I got to be working in that. But you just have the passion. for
Well,
it.
it's funny. I'm a firm believer. If you have servant leadership, passion, great oral and technical skills, you can do anything you want to.
Okay.
And my undergraduate degree is actually in English journalism, and my master's in sports marketing and athletic administration. So it has nothing to do with what I do, but this has always been my passion. And much like Shay, you get tired of in the corporate structure. You're always going to have situations where you either peak out or you get coached out.
Yes.
That's just the way of the world.
Right.
Say that again.
Yeah,
Right.
you either peak out or you can get coached out.
Right.
So you got to have an exit plan. And you know, my first stream and my first exit plan was learning this fashion game.
Okay.
So I started out with the graphic tees. I grew from that. I moved. My wife and I relocated here a little bit over 6 years ago.
Okay.
We kind of made our entrance into the fashion game here. We did Georgia Peach Fashion Week. Then we did New York Fashion Week. We did the Plitz show.
So you just went for it.
Yeah, we just
We all in.
yeah. We've been featured in Sheen Magazine, Bonaire Magazine, Young Black Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So we've just been very, very fortunate to, you know, have some things, some steps, you know, just fall in place, and we've been able to follow that path and just stay humble and hungry.
All right. So have you always had a passion for? Was it mostly for dressing men or dressing women, or
Well, I've just always had a passion for fashion.
all together? Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was always well put together. My aunts were always well put together. So for myself, you know, one thing with us men is we always want the women to be on point and
Right.
look a certain way.
Right.
But then we get to a certain age and we feel like, you know, we can have hair growing out of our ears.
And just be in sloppy t-shirts
Right,
and want
right.
us to be fit, tight, and everything
Right.
in place.
Yeah.
So for me, part of putting the book together, Polish Your Appearance, the reason I put the book together is for guys to understand, and we're going to go into the women's
Right.
side as well, but polishing your appearance, it's more than just, you know, as Natasha said, my shirt's popping, but how do I feel inside?
Yep.
Right.
If my shirt's popping and I'm empty, there's nothing.
Yep.
Right.
So we wanted to focus on the inner and the outer. So that's what that
So
polish.
you feel like that coincides with each other? How a person feels on the inside coincides with how they dress on the outside?
Absolutely.
Well, I posted a
Totally
quote. Like you said, my page is very
Right.
organized. I posted
Right.
a quote that said, "I'm much nicer when I like my outfit." And you know, if I feel good outside, but more
You know,
importantly,
that's a good quote, because I know a lot of women do that.
Because you could be feeling bad, Tommy.
They know when they looking good.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Lipstick, hair done, nails done, and I'm stepping out.
right?
Right.
And I
If I
have a
wasn't
thing,
fit, yeah.
you know, I get ugly. I know y'all looking crazy, but I get ugly to look pretty again.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a thing, you know. Who wants to walk
Now, that's
around looking
new.
pretty all the time?
No.
You know, so I'll make sure I strip from everything, do it for a couple days, and say, all right,
Yeah,
it's time to reboot. You know,
Yep.
and it makes you feel better because you don't walk
Refreshed.
around for 3 days
Like, ooh.
looking
See,
crazy.
that's all contradictory though, because I mean, it's like if you have natural beauty, you can take your makeup off all you want to, you still gonna look
And it's
good.
called enhancement. Maybe.
But when do men talk to you the most? When you don't have makeup on, when you have makeup
That's
on?
besides the
Hold on,
point.
hold on.
It's about them.
What you
When do
say,
they talk
Alex?
to you the
Let's
most?
take it back to what Alex said. What
Look
you
at
say?
y'all. Look how they trying to come.
Right?
So it's all
All
about.
about me.
It's all about how I feel at the
If
end of the
it's
day.
appeasing to you,
You
that's
see what
just a
I'm talking
chest.
That's
about.
right.
I feel what you're saying, but you know, I gotta agree with Natasha because I could care less what anyone else thinks about
Right.
how I look,
Right.
as long as I know when I
Feeling
step into
good
the room,
inside.
Exactly.
I get
Yeah,
that.
I mean that's true.
Yeah.
I was just stating though
Yeah,
that
so you
women
we know, guys.
women get hit on the most
They
when
say
you
that.
when you're not dressed up.
Is that what you believe?
I do.
Well,
Because
see-
most women tell me that. Almost every woman I know said the
I
same
get it on
thing.
at the gym.
They be
So
like,
we
talking
I just went to
how you
Walmart
feel.
to get
But
some
we're talking about how
bread.
you feel.
How you
that may
feel.
be true.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you. Yes.
Because
that's
men
more-
like
but-
natural beauty.
But
But
that's
that's
when
more
you
of an
don't
energy
get the
thing.
talk back.
Yeah.
That's when we're like, oh, I can't stand him. Why is he talking to me? You know, because we're not feeling good
Right,
inside.
right.
So that's why you get that.
Yeah, but Shay, you know, and I'm saying this as a guy who's married, but any man that has a little conversation can.
Probably tell.
That's a quick objective to overcome. You're not feeling yourself, but I'm feeling you. I'm gonna make sure I
And
state
that's
that
why
in
he
the
get the
appropriate
call
manner.
back.
Yeah.
That's why they want to get the call back.
Yeah. See?
You know,
Then when I
I'll
step
keep
out,
that in mind.
yeah, that's
next
real
time.
simple. You know, if you look appropriate, apropos for me to walk up on you, and you don't
and you
have
know,
your game
that,
face
he
on.
know that I'm not in my 100, but
Right?
Right.
it's all about
He
me.
was like,
That's
oh,
right.
okay,
How
what's
I
she
feel.
gonna turn into?
Look at that.
That's what you thinking?
Absolutely.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, I could do with
If a
that.
frog can turn into a prince,
Yeah, look
you
at that.
know what I'm saying?
You better talk that.
You know,
Okay.
All right, so with your fashion,
Shirts, yep.
yep, you started with the t-shirts,
Right.
and you just progressed along the way to a full
correct.
look.
Well, our slogan is we will grow with you. So part of why we did that was very strategic, because think about it. If I get a young man who wants to go to prom, he probably wants a bow tie. Now these guys are getting real fly and they want to do blazers.
Again, thank you.
Right. So the whole plan was, if we can get him in a bow tie and a shirt, now we take him to a vest. He starts to feel, you know, his shoulders raised up. Right. He feels better about himself. Now we take him to a blazer. But here's the thing. He's going to go off to college, right? So he goes off to college. We stay in touch with him. He's going to eventually need, and one of the things we talk about in the book is, if by a show of hands, if I ask everyone in here, so you wouldn't cheat, to cover your eyes and say, hey, who in here owns an iPhone? Pretty much every hand's going to go up, right? Or who in here owns the latest model Android? Most hands will go up in a room. You ask the ladies, who in here owns a high-end purse, whether it be Michael Kors, Louis Vuitton, Birkin, whatever it is, whatever your flavor of the day is, the hands are going to go up. Then if I said, well, let me ask you a question. Who in here has a suit for a first and second, and then just a set for a third interview? Less than half the hands will go up.
Absolutely.
So one of the
I do, but half. Yeah, you're right.
So one of the things we talk about in the book is what we call priority-based investing versus consumer-based investing. See, if we talk about us culturally, we consume and waste more than any culture in America. But someone passes away, and guess what? We got to start a GoFundMe.
Yep.
Man, I done talked to a lot of people who does design, who does fashion design and stuff. But they never put it the way you put it.
I appreciate that.
You are just a whole different genre of fashion.
Well, you have to keep this in mind. You know, I'm a father of two daughters, 25, 10, and I have a son that'll be 2. And the way I look at it is, you know, the way I approach things and the way I handle myself is what I want my girls to see when they're looking for a man. I don't want them to marry me, but I want them to find some qualities that they like in me, and maybe some things that they could do away with me when they move forward. But my son is my legacy. So if I'm not positioning myself, if I'm only talking the language of fashion, I'm setting him up for failure.
Gotcha. You're absolutely right. Wow.
He said, as TV said, let me take a breath.
Right. Because I'm saying
that. You wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that. That's a whole different level of fashion.
How did you get to the transition to actually saying I'm going to write a book? Because that's a whole different. So, I mean, that's a whole different scheme, a whole different path. So how did you decide you were going to do that?
Well, so, and Kathy always gets on me because I never tell everything that I do. But away from fashion, I'm operations manager in the staffing industry. And I oversee 11 locations in greater Metro Atlanta. And one of the things I would notice when I would go into the branches and just sit and observe, the bulk of the demographic would be African-American males coming in. And most of them would be between the ages of let's just say 20 to about 28. Most of them would have no clue how they should come in dressed for an interview. But the first thing I had to say to myself, and one of the first things I say in my book is, if I was going to write this book, one of the first things I had to do was to not blame them for what they weren't taught. You can't blame someone for what they don't already know. So I started taking just observations, and of 200 potential associates that came in to gain employment, only 3 at least had on a pair of khaki pants, a button-down shirt, and came with a resume. Those numbers were so staggering. I said, you know what? You have to take a back-end approach to fashion, because everybody wants to be a designer, a stylist. You open up your IG page and you could just search stylist and you'll get 2,000-3,000 in Atlanta, right, Shay? But how many of them can actually teach a young man and woman how to position themselves away? Let the fashion work for you. You don't work for the fashion. See, because one of my favorite sayings is, you have to be more substance than show. So if all you do is look good, but we go to have a conversation and you can't articulate, you can't position yourself, the fashion does nothing for you. See, fashion for me just opens doors. But once I get in the door, I close the deal.
So you start the conversation with the fashion that gets your eye, and now we're talking about a little bit more.
It's called bait and switch.
Yeah, I know.
That's what they call it. In real
That's
world.
what I call it. Especially with the shoes. No, he's serious. I wear heels through the airport.
Me too.
And people laugh at me and they say, why? And because it's called bait. Okay, it starts
walking with
conversation.
purpose.
It start conversation.
Say,
oh, I
hey,
love
who-
your shoes.
who
Great,
are
I
you?
sell them. Here's a card. Check out my website. I'm so serious. I promise you.
Hey, you
So
gotta
it
wear
might-
your brand.
It
That's
might
what
not.
you gotta do.
It might not be my brand. I have some Pradas and Gucci's I might wear, but I call
But
them
you
bait
still-
shoes.
yeah,
So
that's right.
some will say, are these on your website? No, these are bait shoes. Like, what's bait shoes?
So
You
let
just
know.
asked me about my shoes, right? Now I'm gonna tell you about the shoes that I do sell.
So you know that I'm out there, a woman that knows how to wear
Right.
shoes.
Yes,
you know, I got some,
yes.
if I'm
That's
wearing these, you know the stuff that I'm selling is nothing but top
Exactly.
quality.
That's
You better get it.
exactly.
See,
That's why we
that's
call it
right.
bait.
Now, before we get back to Shay, I want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Do you think that because there's a lot of men, young men, that are growing up without fathers,
Correct.
and they don't have examples of how to dress?
Correct.
So, do you think that's where it starts there? Would you agree with that?
Well, that's a great point you bring up, which I think chapter 4 in my book is called The Polished Mentor. See, here's the thing. You can get and attain anything you want in life if you're willing to hustle for it. And what
Right.
I mean by hustle is going about it the right way. My mom had me at age 15. Going in May, it'll be 3 years she's been gone. She had me at 15. My dad's never really been in my life. But she never used that as an excuse to not position me and put me in the right situation.
Absolutely.
Which I was able to leverage that later on in life and realize that you can accomplish a lot without having a father. You just have to put the right people in your life.
Gotcha.
So my mentor from high school, Fred Geraci, is still my mentor today. And, he taught me 34 years ago. But we're still in communication because that's part of being able to also maintain healthy relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, part of the issues we have in our community is we not only do we not have father figures, we don't open our mouths for mentors, and then we struggle with maintaining healthy relationships because sometimes a relationship is only as good as what the person can do for us.
Man, you ain't never.
Wow.
That's not a relationship.
Yeah.
That's an I.
Right.
It's associate.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, it does. It correlates back to mentors. And that's a lost art in our community. See, and as brothers that are getting older, we always want to talk about what these young guys are doing. My first question to you would be, what are you doing to help change what these guys are doing? Because if you're only talking about the problem, you're part of the problem.
Wow.
Much.
And it does start.
That's
You know,
deep.
you have to admit that if you see someone dressed, especially a brother dressed as sharp as you.
I
Right
appreciate
now,
it.
no, really, if you see a brother, you automatically have a different disposition of how you want to approach them.
Right.
So even if I don't have all those tools about me, if I don't have the know-how, how to talk, how to interview and stuff,
Right.
your demeanor, when you sit down and you look sharp and you look the part,
Right.
I already approach you and talk to you a different way so that it already gives you that confidence and that, the rest of it. So it starts with, what you look like.
Correct. And I totally agree with that, Natasha. But, that was something my mom taught me early on. She always said, dress for the job you want.
Right.
Dress for the interview you want. And I would walk around at the end of our hall. We had this long full body mirror. And, she would tell me to go to bed some nights because I would stand in the mirror and interview myself. Because I'm real big on, are any of you familiar with the 5 Ps?
No.
Okay. Perfect practice prevents poor performance.
Okay.
So if you work on interviewing daily, you asking me these questions, Natasha asking questions, I don't have to worry about what the questions are because I'm going to stick to the same script.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And it's what I prepared myself for.
All right, then. All right, man. You you need to be teaching classes to these brothers out here, man. For real. That's deep.
Appreciate that.
Shay.
Back to Shay.
Shay is already model ready. She always she's model ready.
I want those eyelashes, Shay.
Thank you.
Me too.
I love eyelashes.
Me too.
Let me tell you something. I might be plain Jane at the Walmart, but I'm gonna have some lashes on.
And the eyebrows.
I'm gonna let you know.
My eyelashes and eyebrows have to be done. Everything else could be plain Jane. Eyelashes
right.
and eyebrows.
So y'all still dressed up? No, that ain't no difference.
Not
No,
necessarily.
not really. Yeah.
Y'all just don't.
She understands.
Exactly.
So you have been you started off acting.
Yes. Started
And you've
out
been doing
acting.
that since school.
Actually, I started out acting in high school. I used to,
Right.
I took TV production in high school, wrote a couple plays. I had my friends performing the plays, won first place back then. So acting, I already knew that was something I would follow. The hosting, I didn't think I would be in front of a camera hosting an interview and then on red carpets. That was something definitely new to me.
Well, I definitely know the feeling on that, because I never thought I would be doing radio interviews, because this was never my goal. But Penny, that woman over there, the CEO of WCEG Networks, asked me several times would I do it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Here I am, a little over a year later.
Okay, you're doing well. Love it. I love the show.
How did you transition, though, to the web series? Because I know that finding those is hard, but then, two, getting one that's actually good production. Because I looked and I saw it looked good, looked really good.
Yeah, it was actually through a friend who just happened to produce something. I just got lucky, I'm going to say, on that. Yeah. Believe it or not, I met him through, I showed up to a fashion event and won best dress. I know it always.
Figure that.
I'm just saying.
Figure that.
That bait, right? It's all about the way you look.
Figure that.
What it is. But I won, and then we just kept in touch, and then he said, hey, I want to use you for this web series, and I auditioned, and that's kind of what opened up doors for me with that. I did a couple things with him as far as on different projects. So, and then becoming a brand ambassador for iRock Hair as Aaron Tracy. So I've been working with him for about 2.5 years, and he's the one who cut all my hair off. But shout out to him, because yes, he
cut all your hair off. So you was a long hair wearing woman.
I had big hair, a lot of hair. Yeah, so he was like, let's do it. And honestly, my life been different since then.
You know what's funny? I've heard that before, and the short hair don't fit everybody.
No.
But when it fits you, it just fits you. And it's what it is, and it takes off, so it looks good on you.
Thank you. So started there, and then I don't consider myself a model, but it just happens to work. So
I can't tell. I'm telling you, I look on your page, and I see you model pics all day. I cannot tell that you're not a model.
No, I did it years ago, but I'm short, so
it don't
never
matter.
really went to.
We breaking grounds. It don't matter.
Yeah, so
sure,
it just happened to work. So that's just what opened doors for the passion for shoes, and that's how I got into Shay Boutique.
How?
I love shoes. When I say love shoes, I buy shoes every week.
Wow.
Yeah, every week, and they had to stop.
What size are you? So you might just want to recycle that. Let's talk about the size.
I wear 6'6.5".
Nah, too small.
Too small. So it started out with this spending way too much money on red bottoms and Gucci's and my last draw. I was like, you know what, this is it. I'm not spending $1,000 on another pair of shoes.
When you can create your own.
And when I can create my own, and that's inventory. And I just stepped down on faith. I got booked for this panel, this fat woman's panel in Vegas. And I just happened to tell them I was launching a shoe boutique in November. And then boom, it was like, okay, now what you going to do?
You going to do it.
I didn't even have the name solid yet. It was like, okay, here we go. This is it. November is launch. So it was like, all right, you got to just stick to the plan now.
That's what I like about both Shay and Alex. Like, for everybody listening, is nobody waited for someone to put them on.
Yeah.
You had your vision, you spoke it, and you somehow made it happen. And I think everybody's looking for this magic formula or, the 1, 2, 3 step, and there isn't one. It is having faith.
Well, they feel like they have to go
1,
to school
2, 3,
to do
go. That's the step. I'm being honest with you. You have to count, because sometimes you might not get up. But if you count like, all right, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I don't know. Have you count down a little bit? You have to count down. It don't matter.
Well, it takes a lot of confidence. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. You have to be. I always say, you have to be confident, because there are going to be times when no one else believes in you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Then you have to have a little bit of arrogance, because you have to be crazy enough to think that the ideas you want to come to fruition, that you can make it happen.
Amen.
So there, you have to have a balance of both. Now, that doesn't mean that people, you're unapproachable, you can't have genuine conversation,
right?
But you have to kind of have that demeanor, because as well, in this industry, you got to have thick skin.
Yes, you do.
No doesn't mean no. It means no, not right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come back to you later, or you're going to come back to me.
Exactly. The biggest fear.
I'm sorry. And keep this in mind. A lot of us, with what we do, you notice our circles get smaller.
Yeah.
Our associates grow, but our true circles get smaller.
Right.
And the reason being is because when Natasha talks about everything that she's doing, she's writing, producing, you talk about being an assistant producer, you can't have that conversation with just anybody.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Because everyone's not going to receive that.
Right.
So,
You're right.
So sometimes you got to close
You're
that door.
They say that, I always say that they say it's lonely at the top because everybody's not made to go to the top with you.
That's right.
And along that
lonely.
way, people are going to start falling off.
Yep.
Whether it's for jealousy or insecurity or
Whatever.
You know, they just going to start falling off.
Right.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody's not made to go to the top with you.
And then they often say,
You changed.
Natasha changed.
Yeah.
No, she didn't change.
It's just you had to
Right.
adapt.
It's a different focus.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
As Meek Mill started out saying, she leveled up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you just weren't ready to go to the next level with her.
Right. And you know what's funny is like, you know, at my school, my high school, old school I went to, a lot of people that I hung out with, like my close friends stuff, they do not follow me. They don't come to any of my events, anything. But they know every single move I make if I talk to them.
You know
And
why?
I'm like, really?
They just watching so they
They
can
watch
do
your
you.
story.
They're watching.
They watch your story a whole lot more than they like your post.
Right.
Just pay
Yeah,
attention
that's
to
how it
that.
goes.
You
Yeah.
always see
Yeah.
those eyes watching
Yeah.
your story, but those are the same ones that don't like your post. But you know what? All we can do is pray for them.
Yeah.
We can't really have any malice in our heart because that could be their way of saying, man, I wish I had the
gumption
the
or-
gumption
yeah.
to take a leap on faith the
Some
way that
people just live through
Wardelll
you.
did.
You know, that's what they
Vicariously,
do.
yeah.
Vicariously
Vicariously,
do.
yeah.
Because I'm
That's
too
what they
afraid
do.
to step on faith and just say, you know
Exactly.
what? I was accounting. This is and I have
Right.
a similar stories. Like you get laid off and you say, okay, I got to go rush to that next accounting job or HR job, and you go.
Right.
You say, wait a minute. I have a passion, I have a purpose, and here's my opportunity, and let me not be so afraid. We talked about the entrepreneurship, we're so afraid, and we're taught to get the degree, go get that job, not your job, go get somebody else's job so you
Yep.
can pay for the degree.
Yep.
You know, so it's a cycle, so then we can
Right.
retire at 60 and have maybe a couple of golden years.
That's
and by
right.
the time you wake up and realize it, you're like either stuck and say, well, now I'm trapped, or
Right.
you say, hey, forget this.
Right.
This is my opportunity, and I'm walking.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. And so
Right.
you have to be crazy, like you know,
Yeah.
crazy enough to believe that, you know, you walk in your purpose and say, hey,
Right.
this is it.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
The
Totally-
biggest,
I totally
the biggest fear, what I was gonna say was, you know, everybody could see me as this fashion person, and this is how I came out. Oh, you look like you look nice, but now it's like once I launched the shoe boutique, it was like I'm putting my creativity to the front and hoping you gravitate towards it because I want you to like it now. You know, you like it. My style is different from me putting something
Something on
out
my
and
own.
hoping that you will buy into
But
it.
it's a reflection of you because it came from
And
you and
that's
not
the
somebody
Right.
else.
biggest
And that's
fear.
why. And that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
they already, and you already say it's a reflection of you and your taste. If you already have good taste, then it's just an extension of you.
Yeah.
Right.
And the same thing, like your book, I'm sure, and I haven't read it yet, so hopefully we get some copies or something. Your book, your style is a reflection beyond just your product that you're putting forth.
Correct.
And that's why
You're
it's
a
going to
brand.
succeed.
Yeah.
It's your
Right.
brand.
You are a brand.
Wardelll, do you mind if I ask you all a question?
Sure.
Because you brought up
Round table discussion.
You
What
brought
we
up
got?
Gucci and Prada and some other brands, Red Bottom. Why is it that you feel that as a culture we will go out and buy Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Versace, you name it, almost kind of like as a rite of passage and validation, but we won't support one another when we have brands?
You know, that's a good question. And
The relaunch.
The
right.
relaunch. I
Yep.
was just with
Yeah.
Jay Alexander.
that's a good question. You know, when I come in the studio, sometimes I wear this hat, and it's called brickwear.
Okay.
One of my friends, I go to the barbershop. He came in there. He said, "Man, I'm creating these hats. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to do whatever, you know, to support my family or whatever." And he came in. I bought 2 hats, and I wear it to the show sometimes. People ask me, like, "Where you get that hat from?" And I tell them, go to his site.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I support people all the time.
That's great.
And but other people, I think it's the envy and the jealousy that gets them if they know the person. And so it's like they see them doing something and they wish they could do it. And
Right.
instead of them saying, "Hey, can we do something together? Or how can I support you? Or how can," you know what I mean? They just rather hate on them.
Right. What do you think, Natasha?
I don't know if it's hate. I think one hate, but I think the other thing is we're always waiting for someone else to co-sign to say it's good.
Exactly.
And
We're
that's
waiting for
another thing.
somebody else
Yes.
to co-sign, and what people don't realize, for as you just stated earlier, that you know our consumption is like $1 billion industry for us alone. Whether we have it or not, we gotta buy it.
Right.
And if we recognize and wake up and see that we are the people that set the trends, then we are the ones that say something's hot or not. The fact that we keep using our own money and making other brands that are not for us, FUBU, Bayou, you know,
Right,
for
right.
us,
For us brands.
Off-White, I like,
Right.
you know, Off-White, we're gonna shout Off-White, but if we don't really we're looking at someone else, whether it be the movies and the TVs and the people that we see that are glitzy and glamour, and they're wearing this things, and we want, as we talked about earlier, about even just the interview, how people perceive you and look at you
Right,
different.
right.
If I walk in with a Gucci or my red bottoms, and I do own one pair, and
Okay.
I just say sorry. Just say-
She said sorry. Right.
I do
Okay,
own
sorry.
one pair.
10, I mean,
Yeah, see, when you walk in, people look at you differently, and
For
so when
some
we talk,
reason, yeah.
so when we talk about the way that people perceive us outside of us, you know, and we're looking at either acceptance or we're looking at the masses that are that we're looking to be accepted by, instead of
Right.
recognizing we have our own conglomerate and we can be accepted amongst ourselves and lead the pack. I think the idea is that because we are looking for the acceptance of people, and if I'm walking in with some red bottoms and a Gucci or a Prada bag, or we're gonna use those names because we know they got some opportunity, and I still have my Gucci bag.
Right. Understood.
But if we walk in that way, when somebody looks at me and they talk to me, they're gonna talk to me differently, as and instead of if I walked in with just a FUBU. Or if I walked in, you know, wearing just something from mom and pop.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's right. I'm just saying the reality is when I walk in to this big event where I'm about to either audition or I'm about to go in
Right.
front of somebody, I'm going to automatically, it's almost like the same thing with the interview. Like if I had just like those jeans on and a shirt, when I walk in with that, you're automatically just going to sit up just a second to see, okay, you know, take notice. And I think when people recognize that, is that we use that, unfortunately, besides the hate, to say, okay, that's why I got to support that brand.
justification.
As
Right.
justification. Not to
Right,
say it's
right.
right now. I'm not saying none of that stuff is right.
Right.
I'm saying is I think that's why people do it, because we know the social masses that we're looking for acceptance where we shouldn't be will accept us when we are walking in that brand, or that, you know, when we walk at that.
Well, but I guess my rebuttal to that would be is we're accepted in our community, but when you walk in for a big audition, a big interview, that pair of red bottom shoes is probably not getting you that audition.
No.
nope, and it's
No.
just a turn away.
So
Yeah.
so it's almost like we've been conditioned to
Conditioned
believe
to believe
something
something, yeah.
that's
Right.
not true.
That's not true.
It's
yeah.
not factual.
Right.
So we're supporting brands that could care less if we're wearing their brands. You know, if you were to walk up to somebody in
Gucci, yeah.
somebody in Versace's family, because he's passed on, and say, "Hey, I really love your brand. I wear it all the time."
Anyways.
Okay, thanks. They're gonna keep moving.
Right.
But see, well, I take that, you know, not so much, because look at Hilfiger trying to come back. You saw their latest fashion show where they had just, and I'm like, so you're going to have a whole cast of African Americans and now we just going to be good? So remember how the Hilfiger was...
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He didn't make his brand for us.
Right.
Yeah,
He
he
didn't make
his
it
brand
for
for
us.
us. And look at how long it's taken them. So now this is the first year that they had like a cast that literally walked in. Their cast was all African American.
Because he realized we
He
were the one
realized
buying
the
his stuff.
consumer. So if other brands, if we, and I'm not saying that we did this to Hilfiger, but I'm saying is
Right.
other brands, if we recognize our buying, like they were one of the true brands that when we said we boycott, we left them alone.
Well, we embrace their colors, but keep this in mind: when we say it's taking him a long time to come back, Tommy's still a multi-millionaire.
No, he is,
Yeah,
but
he
he
is,
recognized,
definitely.
but you know, he's still but he recognized he is missing on a great market share by the
Right.
way of shunning us. So when I say
Right.
come back, not like he fell off and he
Yeah.
was bankrupt, but I'm saying is that
Right.
if he felt like he was just straight and good, there would be no reason for him to try to come back.
Absolutely.
And I think that now because we were so adamant in saying, hey, all those years, like, you know, so
Right.
now you want to continue to keep growing your brand.
Right.
You have alienated your brand by the way that you made that statement. It was so many years ago, and it's taken you what, almost 20, 30 years, but yet you still coming back trying to figure out how can I get that market share back.
Right.
Well, also, I think the trends has changed too. So before, the people was walking around with the billboards looks like with example for FUBU as well. Because I remember when we did the launch with FUBU, that was one of the fears is people were going to still walk around with a billboard across their chest. Now people are not looking at that anymore. They're looking at, oh, is it black owned and let us support. That's
Yes.
it. So it's definitely. I mean, they even had a fear relaunching. It's been in the works for 6 months. It just so happened the timing that they were looking to launch, it just worked in their favor based in the media with Gucci and Prada and so forth. So it just happened. It's all about timing too. So it's us where the longevity of our brands like Sean John and Baby Fat, we're the ones who kind of put the cap on that. Even with us with music and hip hop, you know, only in our culture is where you're too old to even succeed as a music artist, where you can get a country singer to come out at the age of 60 and be a hit, you know. So our culture is the one who put a cap on certain things as far as our fashion and our music.
We get tired of it, and we're ready to move on to the next, because we think if we have the next, we're more of a trendsetter as opposed to following the trend.
We keep resetting the trend.
Exactly.
Every 1 minute is this way, the next minute that way.
And so people don't recognize we.
It's our culture.
People don't
it's our culture that does that.
Yeah.
So whereas though Tommy Hilfiger, they're dedicated Tommy Hilfiger wears. You know, they're going to wear it for years. Even with Ralph Lauren, they're going to wear it for years.
Classics.
It's classics.
Polo.
You know, polo. Speaking of
FUBU,
look, shout out to FUBU. Yes, they're back. FUBU collection. I know you guys know that I'm also on FUBU Radio.
Yep. I do know that. Go ask you about that.
So definitely wanting to touch base on that. I'm just happy to be a part of an amazing team. They embrace me like I was family. You know, these guys are phenomenal. They're looking to, you know, FUBU never went anywhere. Hip hop is still a trend. FUBU is a trend in like China and so forth. You know, they're still wearing our brands. It's just over here we're the ones
States.
that's dying our culture down.
It's always our state, our country, that kind of trends away from certain things.
Always.
When the foreign countries embraces everything.
They embrace it all.
Everything we do.
Alex said it. You said what? You said again, we decide that we need the next.
That's right. We need the next up. Keep this in mind. I was reading an article and it was just talking about the dollar. And it was saying in the Jewish community, their dollar stays in their community like 4 to 5 days. In the Caucasian community, it stays in their community like 2 days. In the African American community,
it
stays 6 hours.
Does it last a day?
It stays in our community less than 6 hours. So think about that.
Yeah.
We can't wait to
get this money out of there.
Yeah, to get a check and then go consume, but not spend any of the money within the community. And then we always point the finger at everyone, wondering why
we don't got it.
What happened?
Why African American businesses are no longer why they fail. You know, because you get a business, I want the hookup.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I was talking to this white guy at the airport.
Yep.
And we was talking about women's hair. And he is some guru in the business or something. And he said, I got a question for you. And I was just, sitting there waiting for him to ask me the question. He said, how come one of the biggest selling items in the African American community is hair? But
ladies,
not one person want to invest in their own business. Like he said because there's only one hair consumer that creates the hair and do it. There's only one.
Who's
what
that?
I understand. I don't know. I
can't okay. I got you.
But I know that there's one business. But he said everyone will go to the white people and not focus their attention on the black company.
Well,
he said, "Why is that?"
I think it's knowledge. People don't want to put the effort in. I think I was reading somewhere there was this, I can't remember her name, it's escaping me. There was one African American lady that literally went to China. She's going to be the first one to literally open up a distribution there. Out of all this time, all the consumers that we do and we purchase, nobody ever thinks, and bravo to her, and I apologize not knowing her name, but to say, let me go to the source instead of, let me be the source instead of keep going to the source. Is that we're so conditioned to be in our comfort zone. You say, I don't know the culture, I don't know the language. Okay, so what do? You get an interpreter. You understand the lay of the land. You understand how distribution works. Is that you don't have to go to school. It helps to know how to set up an LLC. There's so many YouTubes. There's so many infomercials. There's so many different avenues, but it's the effort. We want stuff immediate now, and we need to make sure that we know what's going to turn a profit. instead of believing that I'm going to put the effort in and I know it's going to succeed, because I know anything I put it's going to succeed because I don't fail. So it may be a little setback here or there, but there's nothing I do that I actually fail at. And I think that there aren't enough people. When you say the females, is that now you look at women African Americans are killing it, because then we start saying like, hey, I don't need somebody to co-sign for me. I don't need the husband. I want one. I don't need him though. So we'll put that out there. We'll put that in New York.
I need one. I'm not gonna be the one saying I need one.
But it's like you say, you're looking for someone to guide, and you got so many African American women now that say, okay, instead of helping build as nurturers, we are help building other people, other cultures, other brands, and then we got to say we're not looking at ourselves. And I think at this era right now, this wave, if you look at African American entrepreneurs, we say, I'm building and investing in me, you know, and I hope that I can bring you along, but I'm investing in me first.
Right. Well, a couple things. You know, Warren Buffett says that the best investment you can make is in yourself.
Right.
And this is a guy that started out with $100 who's worth $84 billion now. Okay. And I think he still lives in the first home he ever built. So that should tell you something about that. But, you know, when you start talking about companies failing and not sticking with it, I always look at it this way. You know, I'm 49. I turned 49 last month.
Black don't crack.
Black
I know
don't
that's
crack.
right.
Yeah. So look at it this way. When I grew up, if I had a leftover, you know, which I'm vegetarian now, but if I had a leftover hamburger, right, I would go turn on the stove, put it on 350, let it get hot, take that aluminum foil, put my sandwich in there, right? It took longer, but it tastes better. You take a millennial or an 80s baby, here's what they do. They're going to take it, hit 30 seconds on the microwave. The fries are going to taste like rubber, but you get them faster. So I call it the microwave syndrome. We want everything quick. We want everything right now. We're not willing to put the time and effort in. And that's why a lot of our businesses fail. It's always mismanagement of funds, lack of support, and no marketing strategies.
I'm just going to do it. So it's okay to step out on faith, but you need to have a plan. Now
You
you
gotta
can
have a
adjust
plan.
the plan.
Don't even ask for a business plan.
And you have to stick with it.
What is that?
Yeah, you have to stick with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You
It
can't
takes
give
time.
up. Yeah, everything takes time. But I do realize a lot of people, when they get to a point to where they're like, it's taking too long, they're like, I'm going to just find something else to do. You know, and then, and I mean, I understand if it's for a financial need, you could do something else on the side, but I still say stick with that goal. You know what I'm saying? And focus on it.
It's funny you speak on the millennials. Here's a fun fact. I don't know if it's a fun fact or a bad fact, but actually, the millennials is actually the first generation that have not made more money than their parents. Did you know that?
And you know what's interesting about that comment, Shay? The millennials have more resources than anyone that's preceded them. You know, with social media, you can go viral and be a millionaire. And be a millionaire.
Super. Making $1 million in an hour.
Well, think about it. What's the 6-year-old kid who he does the toy reviews?
Yes, I saw the toy reviews. Yes,
he's worth like $10 million.
Wow.
Just by doing reviews. I told my 8-year-old, we get a YouTube channel, baby.
All he does, Wardelll, he reviews toys. And
nothing fancy.
Yeah, nothing fancy. He started out with his parents. So now companies actually pay him. They will send him a toy because now he's got multiple streams. He's getting
free toys and everything.
Well, he's getting clicks through YouTube. Then on the flip side, the companies are paying him to endorse their product. So now you built two streams of income just by taking a chance on starting a YouTube channel.
I think so I think right now when you talk about the millennials we're giving them the freedom to do what they want, but it's also guidance. Like I talked about that. So if you can couple that together,
and there's no structure.
There's no structure.
And because you have at home and then you have social media. Yeah. So there is no structure there.
I'm gonna tell you, this beyond no structure.
beyond no structure. Actually, I'm afraid for especially our little girls because of the way what it looks like it should be. And I know that's a whole other topic, right? I know.
Touch my heart like we're doing. Let me tell you, right? We have math on Mondays. We have technology Tuesdays. We have writing Wednesdays. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can do what you want to do. Sunday's church. And it's called structure. It's like, structure. I'm going to let you do what you want. And by 8:30, if you want to FaceTime with your little friend at 8, she's FaceTiming with her best friend in D.C. You could do that.
For 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes. And she just got accepted. We just got accepted to the gifted program in her 2nd grade. And I said to her, this means, and she was excited because we talked about being, challenged to stuff, but I said, that means more work.
That's right.
That means more work. That means you need to be prepared in your gifted class. You need to be prepared. So it's the idea, and we're writing a book together.
Nice.
So we are writing. So it's the idea of you're creative, and we talked about this, I think the last time I was on the show. You're creative, but it's like, let me say, okay, you have that creativity. Let me get some structure to that.
That's right.
So I'm gonna let you do that. Tell me your ideas, and I'm not gonna try to change it. I'm gonna say you are the subject matter expert because you know what 8-year-olds like.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and write your story. Tell me what you like, and then mommy's gonna bring it together, and I'm gonna figure out how to use my marketing and masses. And instead of just saying, well, you don't know what you're doing, you don't got any structure, you trying to do your own thing. Is I'm teaching you right now.
That's right. You got to control what you can control because we can't control what they're seeing on social media. There used to be this thing. My kids couldn't short text me. Believe it, let alone text me. We don't even play that. But no, I'm being honest. It was like we
have a conversation.
My kids, we talk. That's what it is. And then when it comes to the short texting, you can't. You have to write a full sentence out to me because this is how we're gonna practice. Okay. No television, and it's in the room. In fact, my daughter's 23 and she still don't even have a television in her house. My son, he has one now, but being in the military. But it's just like, it's interesting to see that they actually follow what it is I taught them, and it's like, wow, okay.
Because you inbred it in their head. And just like with me, I have to clean all the time. Like people come around, they be like, "Man, your house is so clean." I'm like, "Man, my mom had me clean."
Saturday cleaning. Do we do Saturday cleaning?
My kids had to do it every Saturday. Clean the grass.
I can't get no filth at all. I had to clean before I go outside. I had to clean before I do anything.
Exactly.
So it was, but we're gonna take a break.
All right.
When we come back from the break, I'm gonna ask the question: what was the biggest struggle you've had in your careers? When we come back in 10 minutes,
get it.
We'll be back shortly.
Yeah. Let me do it. You wanna talk about it? We gon' talk about it. You wanna talk about it? That Hollywood of the South. We can talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. We can talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. We can talk about it. That Hollywood of the South. Hollywood. Let me do it. WCEG, Hollywood of the South.